Good night. This is Roger Hasfal holding the fort for Mutabaruka tonight. Yeah man, me same one, Roger Concrete Hasfal. Yes, as you know, Mutabaruka after Africa, Ghana. So it's the same thing. Nothing changed. We're here on a journey and we're here to help liberate the minds. And it's no different. So we have a wonderful program lineup tonight, you know. And as I say, it's a journey until 2 o'clock. And a lot of issues will be discussed tonight. Yes, Bones. Yeah, man, the Star is here as well.
Yes, Rasta.
Yes, I am.
Yes,
yeah, man, for real.
Yes, I.
But interestingly, you know, I hear hosting Muta program. I remember in the early 90s when him just started and why we usually listen it. And the following day, you know, man, we always discuss. We go on for Muta program, you know, all the lecture them, Dr. Ivan Van Sertiman, John Henry Clark, and Ben Buchanan and them people. And my dear departed grandmother, you know, man, I love her to death, you know, man. Yeah. When we are talking, I'm Mutabaruka, there, listen, no? I'm Mutabaruka. Yeah, man, all the way we are talking, man. You see, when we draw for all the song, man. It's normal. So it's an honor to host Muta program, you know, the Barefoot Wonder. As I come in, everybody look for my foot. But them say I upgraded as slippers me in. So, you know, yes, so I can't.
I like doing my program.
Yeah.
Yes, Rasta.
You know, since last week, me and Muta attack, and Muta say, boy, I say, boy, you know, Muta, you know what's that program I want? But I joke me around, you know. Joke, as there's a God, a joke me around. Yeah. Muta say, boy, that program I do every feel, you can't manage my program, you know. And no, all and behold, this week, programs manager Kabu say, Roger, you have to do cutting edge, you know. You have to do, you can't move to Ghana, in Ghana. Yeah, Ghana, yeah, so. So we're there. And a whole heap of things I'll discuss tonight. You know. Well, we have two main topics we're going to do. An interview with two noted university lecturers. And we'll be looking later on in the program on the International Decade for People of African Descent. Yes. We'll also look forward to the 150th anniversary of the Morant Bay War. We know here is a war and not a rebellion, so we're going to explore that. We're going to find out why it was a war and not a rebellion where all of us grew up on. Don't it, Monique? Don't you hear it? Was always here say it was a rebellion. So my grandmother gone, I think it was a rebellion. My great-grandmother gone, and she think it was a rebellion. Her mother, my great-grandmother mother, well, she would have been around that time. So she would have known about the Morant Bay, what we know here as war. We're gonna find out why it was a war and not a rebellion, as we always hear. Just like when we grew up, all the way here, so boy, it was the Arawaks who were in Jamaica and this side of the Caribbean in terms of the islands and so on. But you know, the 90s we here say it's not Arawaks, it's the Tainos. So it's no Tainos. So it's the same thing, you know. So we're gonna explore that, and also a very important topic that we're gonna discuss as well. It is the border dispute between Guyana and Venezuela. It's a long time dispute, you know. It has been going on for more than 200 years, but it resurfaced again in recent times. And yesterday the Guyana government, they had they had some emergency situations where they even made announcements and press conferences and so on because of what they say is the Venezuelan military occupying the other side of the Guyana border. So we're going to go into the history of that, and we're going to, you know, explore that. And we have two noted, as we say, university lecturers on the program tonight. We have Dr. Vereen Shepherd. She'll be speaking about the International Decade of People of African Descent. I'll be speaking to her about that. And I'll be speaking with Dr. Christine Cummings about the Guyana-Venezuela border dispute. She'll give us some historical anecdotes about this situation, especially the recent developments. So it promises to be an informative program as usual. You know, Muta not here, but Roger Hasfal here, and it's the same thing as the slang in Jamaica says, same difference. Yeah, man, we always hear same. I say, why people always the same difference, but anyway, that is slang that. So we're there, you know, and a lot of things have been happening over the past week. We had of course, you know, it's politics time in Jamaica now. You know, so when politics time, a lot of people lose them head. I mean, both parties, everybody start get out of hand and start say some wicked things. We had the conference on the weekend, the PNP conference, and of course the usual true word and counter true word and all, you know, everything. And we see remember in the 1970s and the 1980s, it was usually a physical war, but you know, things have evolved over time. You know, 1989 elections, 89, 90, 93, 97, 02, and so on. And you know, people get more civilized. But we see it gone to a level now where yesterday we saw where both parties showing word at each other that, you know, them thief, them internet domain. You can imagine. One of the internet domain is for the other party, and if you go to that internet domain, it's the other party, you see, and the two parties accuse each other. So them thief, them internet domain. So it gone to a new level now, and I wonder when it's gonna end. You know, when we see what politics do in Jamaica over the years, and we see it gone to another level now. I wonder when things gonna change, when the people are gonna wake up and realize it. Is you have to educate yourself, you know. Nobody now gonna educate yourself here, you know. Is we have to learn the real truth. And we have to get up and stand up and say, why sometimes this politics thing and not really. There's no political will to solve certain things. For me, there's no political will to solve crime. Because me can't understand how a party would have said, boy, me I take credit for when the crime rate gone down, you know, and I blame the other party when crime rate gone up. Me and somebody can have a dispute. That have nothing to do with PNP and JLP. And if me and a man have a dispute and one we kill one another, that have nothing to do with politics, you know. But we see it is a political football and it not changing. People will take credit for when if statistics gone down, and people are go blame if statistics gone up. So it's a political football. So there's no political will to bring down crime. So we now have to just stay in our own little quarters and try to avoid things. Yeah. So we see the Commission of Inquiry going on as well, and some very interesting developments, especially over the last week. Last week we hear from some soldiers who were a part of the incursion down there in Tivoli in 2010. And they should have had 3 soldiers, but apparently them said that the second soldier run off. So the first soldier named Soldier 1, and the third soldier named Soldier 3. And they had them in an undisclosed location, and them altered them voice and the questions and the counter questions and the cross-examination and so on. And you know what struck me with the Soldier 1? One of the soldiers said, when the police and when everybody got on control of the situation, and him said one of the police them go in a house and take out some youth and put them in a cage, and the man said when the police kill the youth them, him get afraid of the police, you know. That's what the soldier said, you know? Him get afraid. Yeah, him say him get afraid. So you can imagine the cross-examination where, of course, I tear him apart. And we see this week again where a lady, she cries so till the boy around 3 times, have to take her out. And why, you know, what I'm seeing now is that, especially with this Commission of Inquiry thing, is that the chairman notices body language. And what I am noticing is that he might get sympathetic towards the people them who go through it Because so much people can't come and tell lie. Because there's a consensus among enough people that a lie the Tivoli people them a tell, you know. A lie them a tell. Them come and tell pure lie all the while and Ray and all sort of things. Lie. But you see, them time they are town still, you know, they are country, you know. That's why they call me town man sometimes. You know, but them time they are town and me know. It's around 2 days after. Because, you know, me have reasons for always, you know, trampoozle them area there. Downtown and round town. Because me was a postie, you know, enough man, all of the postman bridging them, big up on yourself. Yeah. And I tell you that after the incursion, and of course, you know, there are political borders surrounding West Kingston. And, you know, the morning after the incursion and everything died down, and I go up somewhere like up a Whitfield town, you know, right at the stoplight there, so Maxfield Avenue and Spanish Town Road, and I walk up, talk to some of my brethren, and the man them said, why, you see, we are PNP, you know, but I tell you, you know, the man, them going wicked down again, you know, them going wicked, you know, them going, I feel it to my heart. So, the incursion thing, the commission of inquiry, I hope some actions will come out of it. I mean, people are saying, nah, go away, and, you know, people are wasting time and something, but people down at TG, hold the faith. I get the feeling that something is gonna happen. Something is gonna happen because, well, I talk too long? Alright, let's take a break and we'll be back.
Reggae Radio, Irie FM.
Alright, welcome back to the Cutting Edge. This is Roger Concrete Hasfal holding the fort for Mutabaruka tonight. Mutabaruka in Ghana. Of course, you know, Muta love Africa, you know, so as Africa call, Muta is there. So, you know, we are holding the fort, and it's a journey, as we say. We're going until 2 o'clock, and we have some very important issues to discuss tonight here on the Cutting Edge. I never play the saw, no, because I'm Muta and then why you're the saw too, you know. All right. Let's have a very important discussion now. We have a lady who has many titles, you know, and she's joining us from Trinidad and Tobago, actually. She's elected member of the United Nations Committee on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination. She's the vice chair of CARICOM Reparations Commission. She's chair of the National Commission on Reparations, and she's director of Institute for the Gender and Development Studies at UWI Mona. And we're speaking about Professor Vereen Shepherd. Good night, Professor Shepherd.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, and how are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Nice. Of course, we have two things we want to discuss with you in a short space of time. First,
okay.
We want to look at the International Decade for People of African Descent, United Nations, from the United Nations, UNESCO. And a lot of people don't know that something like this actually exists now, and a lot of people don't even pay it no mind. But first of all, tell us UNESCO's idea of having this decade, the International Decade for People of African Descent.
Well, it really wasn't UNESCO, you know. I mean, UNESCO is a partner, but this really originated with the United Nations, and it emerged out of 2011 and the International Year for People of African Descent, which most people in our region ignored, in fact. And the idea was that the laudable objectives of the International Year were not realized, and therefore it needed more to address the conditions of people of African descent. It needed more than a year. And so there was lobby for a decade for people of African descent, and that was officially launched on International Human Rights Day, December 10, 2014. So the decade is supposed to run from January 2015 to December 31st, 2024. And the whole idea is that the people of African descent constitute one of the most vulnerable groups. And as the Secretary General of United Nations put it, we must remember that people of African descent are among those most affected by racism. Too often they are denied basic human rights and access to quality health services, education, and so on. And so the International Decade aims to bring attention to the conditions of people of African descent and really try to fix what's wrong in countries, whether they're in the minority or majority, where their conditions are not being attended to. So that's the aim. Those are the aims of the decade.
Yes, well, you spoke a little background as well. What would you say to people who continue to say, why, what is in the past, you know? We're looking to the future now, you know. I mean, we don't want to hear too much of this slavery thing no more and more of this, you know, we know, we're past that. We move on. We have president, we have a black man in the White House now, and so on. What you say to those people who are still doubting Thomas is that this is a real issue?
Well, the thing is, you know, the decade is not about the past necessarily, because if you look around the world today, you see the present conditions of people of African descent. It is true that in many countries, the root of the problem, the root of the discrimination, and so on, is the transatlantic trade in enslaved Africans. But it is not only that, it is also about post-colonial regimes that have not been able to address issues of health, education, infrastructure, land allocation, housing. And so the decade has 3 levels of implementation. The national level, because if you look at the program of activities, you see a range of issues that the United Nations is calling upon on state, national governments to implement. Then there's a regional level where the United Nations is calling upon, say, CARICOM to do certain things. And then there's the international level. At the international level, at the level of the human rights, the High Commissioner for Human Rights, who is the coordinator of the decade, they have certain obligations. So it's not only about the past, it's very much about the present. The issue being, for so long, people have been trying to, you know, implement programs to address the conditions of people of African descent. But in most countries of the world, black people are at the bottom of the social ladder and the economic ladder.
Yes.
People, they're the most illiterate, they're the most disadvantaged. Why?
Yes.
And when are we going to fix that condition? So it's very much about the present and the future.
So a decade is sufficient enough in terms of, for all that this set of people have gone through. We're talking things like transatlantic slavery, segregation, Jim Crow laws, and mental slavery.
Maybe not, but at least, you know, the United Nations has been approached for so long by people of African descent and their representatives to take action, to do something. So, because people are saying, well, why is the United Nations bothering about this? But if there's a body where people are always, you know, approaching it to do something, then the United Nations acts. And, you know, there have been many decades, you know, decade for minority, you know, for indigenous people, decade for women. So it's in the tradition of the United Nations to focus on particular groups at particular times, depending on the vulnerability of those groups. So it may not be long enough. It's certainly longer than a year when they're dedicated a year for people of African descent.
Yes.
But it's a decade, and at the national level, maybe one of the reasons that people don't know about it is that at the national level, let's say at the level of Jamaica, nothing is being done.
Yes.
The United Nations call on states to launch a decade officially and to pick from the program of activities action points that states believe, you know, they can implement. But I haven't seen the state of the country, Jamaica, doing anything.
Yeah, let me ask you this.
The only CARICOM country that has done anything is Guyana. Guyana has launched a decade.
Yes. Is the Jamaican government aware of this?
Of course they are aware because they were part of the lobby for the decade. And they have already implemented at international level the prominent memorial. And support for the prominent memorial was part of the program of activities for the decade.
And what portfolio would this fall under?
Memory.
And what portfolio would this and what portfolio would this fall under in terms of from a
Well, this is what I don't know either. I mean, I noticed that anything that has to do with international actions for black people seems to end up with the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Culture.
Oh my God.
Or whatever it's called over the years. You know? So I'm assuming it will go there. With collaboration from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. But really, they should be located in the office of the Prime Minister, in my view.
Oh, well, yeah,
but again, we have seen no action, and yet there are so many things the state could do. The theme for the decade is recognition, justice, and development.
Yes.
Right? Brazil is going to do something this year because the program of action calls for regional conferences to focus on issues of justice, education and so on. And there's going to be a region. Brazil is taking initiative to have a regional conference in December this year in Brasilia. So hopefully lots of regional people, NGOs and so on will go and participate. Africa, Nigeria has taken initiative to have a conference already. So civil society and NGOs are doing things. But at the level of the state, not much is happening.
It is said that it's over 200 million people of African descent live in this side of the world.
Yes. And many more in other countries.
Yes. This is
not many more, but other, several
millions in other parts of the world.
In different countries, yes.
But for this side of the world, where Columbus
this side.
Yeah, it is 200 million. Isn't this an important, powerful base?
Yes, if we unite. If we unite for action. If civil society call on the government to do something to implement the Durban Declaration and Program of Action and this decade, then things will happen. But I think we're very good at going to international conferences and international fora and supporting these things, but there's no follow-up or implementation. If we united, we could do something. And of course, people are also hoping that the government of Jamaica will engage the British Prime Minister when he visits next week on the issue of the decade, because part of the decade calls for justice and for the addressing of past tragedies by those who committed the tragedy. So this is in the decade. I mean, it's not something that, say, the Reparation Commission is initiating. This is part of it. It says that those who have not apologized for past wrongs,
right?
Those who were complicit in past tragedies should find a way to close. Well, in the decade document, it says those dark chapters of history, as a means of reconciliation and healing.
Right.
And those who have not expressed apology or regret, those who have not, done anything to restore the dignity of the victims must find appropriate ways to do so. So the government of Jamaica should engage the British Prime Minister in this conversation next week. Or will they?
Where or who would initiate it?
But remember, the government of Jamaica has passed a resolution in Parliament saying that they will press the case for reparation with Britain. So they can start next week.
Yeah, you're right.
There's a parliamentary resolution.
Right.
The government of Jamaica took that decision. I was there when this was done in Parliament. so they are obliged to raise these questions with the British Prime Minister.
Yes, especially in light of the fact
we'll see.
Yeah, especially in light of the fact that the people have been removed again from Hero Circle, and so that's another story. But,
have they?
Yeah.
They're doing the same thing again?
Yeah, but the same thing like President Obama. The same
President
thing
Obama was coming. Yes. Yeah. The thing is, Roger, the CARICOM heads of government, I thought, had seen the light in 2013.
Yes.
They were making a link between underdevelopment and the right to development, and looking at the Caribbean post-colonial period and looking at what regional governments can do, but what they can't do because of the heavy problems that they inherited at the moment of independence, and framing reparation within the context of the right to development.
Yes.
But they seem to have retreated from that and now are going back to talk in the language of aid. You see, Europeans like to talk the language of aid.
Explain
to
for
make
me.
them feel good. They feel like they're benevolent.
Explain for me when you talk about development, because you can elaborate on that for me.
Yeah, remember that historically our region has supplied the labor, right?
Yes.
And for developing agriculture,
yes.
it was sugar and coffee and so on.
Yes.
Those raw products were sent, primary products were sent to Europe. They manufactured them, they sold them, they made money.
Yes.
They didn't invest anything in our region, but they developed themselves.
Their economy.
So you see the banks,
yes.
insurance companies, road infrastructure, railway, museum. So when you go to their country, it looks developed.
Right.
But they extracted our resources to develop their own country. And even at emancipation, they got compensation money, like, a kind of reparation.
Yes.
But nothing came this way.
Right.
And what they've been doing since independence is to talk about aid, and as if they are doing us a favor. When development is a right, we have the right to develop our country, to have proper roads, education system, health system, land, and to live with dignity.
Exactly.
But our governments cannot afford the package that it would take to bring everybody up to speed.
Right.
So we're saying that if you cause all these problems to other people, you have a right to fix it.
Yes.
So that's what it is.
You're right. So, in closing this, because we have another topic we want to talk about. You spoke about some events like Brazil. I mean, are there any other events that that we can look forward to?
For the decade?
Yes.
But you see, there are lots of proposals about what people could do. For example, at the international level, the Human Rights High Commissioner is the coordinator for the decade. There's also a funding package provided by the United Nations for people to apply for funds to do various things. Then they're trying to propose a permanent forum that that at the United Nations the conditions of people of African descent will constantly be there,
yes.
kept in the forefront, and they're also asking for mid-decade review. So at the international level, certain things have been laid down. And at the regional level, they're calling for regional conferences around the world, Africa region, European region, and so on. And then they're calling on states to fix educational system, ensure there's access to quality education and fair access, and racial discrimination, make sure your legislation is okay to protect people of African descent. They're calling for justice, the end of racial profiling of young black men. All these things are being called for. So what the government of Jamaica must do is pick from the program what is necessary. But there's a view,
Yes.
that if black people are the majority in the country and they're ruling themselves and so on, then there's no problem. And we know that's not so. That's not so at all. So, but in terms of what's happening in the region, I know about the Brazil conference. I know Africa held a conference to look at us. What they were doing was looking at our region,
yes.
and saying, how can they fix Africa so that we will want to come back and live there and decrease the migration that's going to the north from the south. I know that NGOs are doing other things in the UK and in Europe, but in terms of the state, now the High Commissioner for Human Rights has called for a report from every country, the 194 countries of the United Nations, to ask them what they're doing. When that report comes out, then we'll be able to map the actions, and we can talk about it when that report is available.
Okay.
But I don't know of anything in the region. in the CARICOM area.
Well, maybe with Prime Minister Cameron coming next week, maybe something can start. What is it?
Well, what I'm saying is that it's the government that has to engage him on these questions, because I don't believe that NGOs, civil society groups will have access to him. So our leaders, having taken the decision to engage Britain in the reparatory justice discussion, should engage him in these discussions and talk about development. Do not talk about what Britain can give us as if we are begging.
Grant and aid.
We have to talk about the right, our right
yes.
for redress.
Yeah.
That is what our people must understand.
All right.
And stop allowing Europe to dictate the pace at which they decide to give or not to give.
Yes.
We have to engage on these issues of the monarchy versus the republic, the issue of deportation of people who became criminalized in that country, and as long as they can trace a Jamaican parent, they want to send people back. These are issues.
Yes.
These are fundamental issues.
Exactly. All right.
So let's see what will happen.
Yeah. Certainly looking forward to that. Of course, we have another topic we want to discuss, but just hold the line for it.
But before we move from this topic, let me urge people who are listening to us, right?
Yes.
NGOs and civil society groups can call on the government to ensure that something is done during the decades of people of African descent. Mm-hmm. And in fact, in the decade, it says that states must talk to NGOs and people of African descent themselves in coming to some decision about what the decade should look like. So but there's apathy on our part too, because we don't think, well, first of all of us don't think we're people of African descent anyway.
Yeah, true.
So maybe we don't think the decade applies to us.
That's a very high hurdle that we have to cross, But
yes, all right. Absolutely. I don't know when we cross it.
Yeah. All right, let's hold it, because this is going to take us into our next topic. Hold on.
96 degrees.
The art of war.
Everything you always wanted to say,
but didn't. Forward.
All right, welcome back to the Cutting Edge. Roger Hasfal here, holding the fort for Mutabaruka tonight. You know him, they are Ghana. And we have on the line Professor Vereen Shepherd. We were speaking about the International Decade for People of African Descent. And of course, she is elected member of the United Nations Committee on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination. And we certainly hope that we got some information regarding that. The next thing we want to discuss, Professor Shepherd, are you there?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, it's the 150th commemoration, some say anniversary as well, of the Morant Bay Rebellion. But we are hearing now it is not a rebellion. It was a war. We are hearing that thesis in recent times. Can you elaborate on that for us?
Yes, before I do, may I just remind your listeners that I was chair of the working group of experts on people of African descent when we drafted the program of activities for the Decade for People of African Descent. Okay, so I was integrally involved in crafting the program of activities, and I'm very proud of the work that we all did and hope that it's implemented. Okay,
yeah,
so
that is noted. Yes.
It's not so recent in terms of calling it war now. I think even the song you just played had war in it.
Yes. 96 degrees.
Yes, but 96 degrees in the shade, and by Third World.
Yes.
It mentions war, and in fact, years and years ago, the Jamaica folk singers did a song called "War Down a Monkland," "War Down a Morant Bay."
Yes.
And from what researchers like Dr. Clinton Hutton have said, even in the testimonies and documents left behind to tell us about this event, some of the people before they were killed and some of those who were in prison and so on described it as a war. But what happens is that some historians, the early historians who wrote about it, and even the officials like Governor Eyre and so on, the Royal Commission, referred to it as a rebellion and or an uprising, and it has just taken hold in Jamaica, and therefore no matter how revisionist historians have been trying to change the narrative and to engage in language deconstruction, Jamaican people still hold on to it and they will not give it up. So people call it different things. Some call it riot, some call it rebellion,
Uprising.
some call it uprising.
Yes.
But based on the research I've seen and the testimonies and so on, my own view is that our people have always been at war with colonialism.
Yes.
And it was an armed struggle. I mean, ever since the invasion of our country and the capturing of our land, our people have been at war with one European country or the next. The indigenous Tainos were at war with Spain.
Yes.
Maroons and Africans were at war with Britain. And it has come right down. It was armed struggle. Even in the war led by Sam Sharp, it was an armed struggle.
Yes.
But the other reason is that there are people who say a war is between two different countries, right?
Yes.
I asked those people who are the two countries involved in the American Civil War.
Yes.
So you can have a civil war. But in any case, in our region, it was war by Africans against Europeans.
Yes.
Africans and Jamaicans at war with Britain. They raided the police station, remember? They took away arms, and it was a pitched battle. In 31, 32, it was similarly a war. It's not, it's the Emancipation War. It was no rebellion, not some Sharp rebellion or Baptist rebellion.
Baptist rebellion.
Because they were organized. It's a war.
Yes.
The reason that the traditional historians like riot and rebellion and uprising is that they have never credited our people with the ability to organize and plan. They feel that every time there's a protest, we just get up one night and say we're going to protest, and we don't have any intelligence to plan anything.
Yes.
But when you look at the testimonies of people before they were hanged or shot, you see clearly that there was organization, there was planning. Some of these people were relocated from Africa were actually warriors,
Yes.
in Africa. Yes. So not just in Jamaica, but right across the region. And so they understood how to strategize. In the Emancipation War, that I call it the Emancipation War because I realized that George Taylor was a strategist in Sharp's army, and they organized the whole of the 14 parishes at the time. Well, it was 12 parishes involved into what they call we would call them revolutionary cells today, and then numbered them. People were testifying that I was in number 18, so and so was in number 12. So these people could not have just gotten up and riot and rebel on Boxing Day in 31. That was impossible.
Yes.
They had accumulated arms. They had organized people. They had captains and so on in the army. And that battle at Montpelier was a pitched battle. So our people have always been at war with colonialism and with the colonialists. And it was a war for justice and rights and respect. And so it was planned, it was organized, it wasn't just rabble-rousing and an uprising. I'm sorry.
So you're saying we need to deconstruct this whole thing about rebellion?
Yes, because it does not suggest planned, organized protest. I wouldn't even mind if they call it a protest, but it was more than that.
Yes.
Because a protest can happen without any armed struggle. You see what I'm saying? And a rebellion can take place without armed struggle. This was armed struggle. And in fact, Governor Eyre, in writing back to Britain in 1865, even said, with these people who are primitive and uncivilized, we have to take certain action that we would even take with peasants in Europe. That's what they thought of our ancestors, and perhaps some of them think the same thing today.
Yes, because
So they don't credit us with any intelligence to plan and organize.
yes, because
Google was clearly organized.
yes, because we're talking
So
about
we
like when he declared martial law and even when they got the situation under control, the soldiers were out on a rampage and whoever, and the same thing we saw.
Absolutely.
And the same thing we saw down here in Tivoli, that when the people had the things under control, they were out of control. Same way in terms of killing off people, same way,
Yes, you see, because they had most of the weapon, and they declared martial law on the 13th of October, 1865, and they allow it to last until November 13, 1865, which is why some people in Britain thought Governor Eyre should have been convicted for murder, because he violated the Constitution. And there was a Justice Blackburn who was trying to, get a jury trial for him. One of the things that Justice Blackburn said was that Jamaica was a conquered colony, and I am glad he put that in writing, right? It was a conquered colony, or as Connick said, capture land. And the Constitution of Britain relating to martial law should have applied to Jamaica. Governor Eyre, by getting the legislature to abolish itself and to declare martial law, contravened the UK Constitution, which applied to Jamaica. Therefore, the war ended. They suppressed our people in 3 days.
Yes.
But instituted martial law and carried it on for a month, and therefore, by carrying on for a month, he allowed the soldiers to be rampantly killing people. The soldiers themselves testified they kill everybody in sight.
Yes.
Whoever was in their sight and just shoot.
Because the record said 439.
The record is clear.
But we are close to
439, but it's many, many more.
Yeah, close to 1,000 or 1,000.
On the list we have.
Yes.
We have counted 439. And most of them are buried in that mass grave behind the old courthouse in Morant Bay.
Yes.
But remember that some wouldn't have been accounted for. They shoot them, they're in the field, wherever they are. Because it was only Morant Bay, but Chiggerfoot Market. You have, a lot of places in Portland as well.
Yes.
Coming right around. So, lots were killed in the field. And we don't know, those who were flogged and so on, I'm sure many of them would die from the wounds. And then there were a whole heap of people in prison. Even up to 1880, I saw in a document a list of names of people who were in prison for the Morant Bay, their participation in that war.
Yes.
So from 1865 to 1880, they were still in jail in the General Penitentiary in Kingston.
Yes. Wow.
You see? So it was a brutal time. And this is something else that the Prime Minister should put on the agenda. Reparatory justice in this 150th year. The Prime Minister should be coming to apologize, the British Prime Minister, to apologize for those atrocities and to commit to reparatory justice. And certainly the Reparation Commission will write to the Prime Minister and the Governor General to urge them to have that conversation.
Yes.
Because we are set up to advise government, and that's exactly what we will do.
Yes. Well, keep us in the loop, Madam. So, 150th...
We will send you a copy of the letter.
Yes, 150th anniversary coming up. What are some of the plans?
Okay, so from the National Commission on Reparation perspective, because, there's a 150th committee,
Yes.
And they have been having things out in St. Thomas throughout the year. But I think we haven't heard much about what they are having, but there is a calendar of activities, and they have been doing things like coming a workshop and all of that. But I'm speaking now as chair of the Reparation Commission, and we have two events coming up. Well, we have been educating people about it as we have had, different education fora. But on the 11th of October, in partnership with IRFM, Running African specifically,
yes,
we'll be in St. Thomas. We'll start from Stony Gut. There'll be a march into Paul Bogle Square, as it's called, and we will have a tribute to the martyrs. And on the 25th, we will stage a dramatic presentation of what the trial of Governor Eyre could have looked like. You know, the people of Jamaica against Governor Eyre.
Yes.
It's a dramatization directed by Michael Holgate of the Philip Sherlock Center for the Creative Arts. And the script is written by Attorney at Law Bert Samuels.
Okay.
But having read the script, the first draft of the script is a moving, trial. It will be. It's an educational. It's a way of using our artistic, creativity.
Yes.
To tell history.
To tell a story. A story. Yes.
So that's the 25th of October. Starting at Area FM will be out there from 6.
Yes.
But the actual courthouse drama will be 8 o'clock.
Okay.
So we want people to come down and witness that. It's a very real courthouse setting. There'll be somebody playing Governor Eyre. The casting is going on now. So it will be very, very interesting. As I said, from my first reading of the draft script,
yes,
it's very, very, very interesting. And we thank Bert Samuels for his work.
Yeah, man. Well, we certainly look forward to that, and we certainly thank you for staying up with us, because we know you're OI.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, so,
after midnight.
Yes, so it was really a pleasure having you,
But it's important. This is important. This is what I do. I'm a historian. We have to... And, as I always say, my history makes it necessary for me to do this public education, all right?
Yes.
So don't feel any way.
All right.
I'll go to my bed now.
All right. So, pleasure speaking today as usual, and all the best. And we'll talk much more.
All right, then.
Yeah, man. Take care.
All right. Thank you.
Right,
Bye-bye.
That was Professor Vereen Shepherd. And, of course, she is an elected member of the United Nations Committee on Elimination of Racial Discrimination, Vice Chair of CARICOM Reparations Commission, and also on the committee, the 150th Anniversary Committee of the Morant Bay War. So, she have a point. We need to deconstruct this rebellion thing and say it's a war. It was, in fact, a war, because when they say the rebellion, it's like, say, boy, we just did unorganized and never have no sense. And, the typical thing with them say about black people and us here in Jamaica and so on. So we're pushing it. It's Morant Bay War. And what happened 30 years before that? It was the Baptist War. Yeah, it was same thing with Sam Sharp led, and the same thing that started the whole process of speeding up emancipation this side of the world. What happened down there in 1831. So I want to thank Professor Shepherd for joining us here on the Cutting Edge. Roger Hasfal here holding the fort for Muta. We have another interview coming up shortly. But let's kick in some tune, some music. We have a break? We have a break like dirt, man. All right, let's go. All right, this is the Cutting Edge. Roger Hasfal holding the fort for Muta, who is in Ghana, Africa. Once the thing named Africa, there's a Muta there. All right, earlier we heard from Professor Vereen Shepherd. We spoke about the 150th anniversary of the Morant Bay War, the plans coming up for that in October. And we also spoke about the International Decade for People of African Descent. Now, yesterday, Guyana President David Granger said that Venezuela has deployed troops to a contested border region in what is called a dangerous escalation of a long-running dispute between the South American nations. The government of President Nicolas Maduro made extraordinary military deployments along what Guyana considers its western border. That's what Granger told reporters. He called the development a hostile, aggressive step in a border dispute that dates back to the 19th century, but has grown more heated over the past year following a major offshore oil discovery in waters claimed by both nations. Now, Venezuela has long claimed a jungle area known as the Essequibo that comprises about 40% of Guyana's territory. So we know it's a long-running history. But to help us, in this discussion, we have lecturer in the Department of Government at the University of the West Indies, Dr. Christine Cummings. She joins us on the line now. Good night, Dr. Cummings. Welcome.
How are you doing, Roger?
I'm good enough. Good to have you.
Thanks.
Yeah, man, great. So, as we said, this is a long-running dispute between both countries, dating back to the 19th century. You can put
dating back to the formation of British Guyana, as it were.
Yes. So, just guide us in terms of the whole historical context of this.
Well, the historical context is that when the British, remember that Guyana has 3 counties: Demerara, Berbice, and Essequibo.
Yes.
The Dutch controlled Berbice. The British pretty much controlled Demerara. And there were Dutch settlers in the Essequibo. So that when that treaty was signed, there was never really a declaration of Guyana's western border, but that land was included as British Guyana in the treaty. They just didn't formalize the boundary. And that dispute has continued from then. That we're talking about, 1811?
Yes.
And eventually by 1899, 2 Americans, 2 British, and a Russian, this is pre-Russian Revolution,
yes,
came up with what they said was an agreement on it, but the Venezuelans never really accepted it. And they've been challenging it over and over. I would argue vehemently more from the 1950s. I remember being in the northwest of Ghana when I was doing my cricket research in 1983, 84. And it was hilarious because nearly everything that was sold in the area, I was up in Mabaruma, Barima, that general area, was in Spanish. Everything was coming over the border from Venezuela, and the Venezuelan soldiers and Guyanese soldiers were friends on the border. So to me it was almost comical. Okay, it flared up again in the 90s. It flares up every now and then, you know.
Yes.
And then again in 2000, I think they first appointed someone, a Barbadian man. He died. Interestingly enough, the person who was brought in to mediate in 2009 was our own beloved Professor Norman Garvan, who of course had that horrific accident and death last year.
Yes.
But he was brought in by the UN as a mediator. In fact, before that, Chavez really wanted a peaceful settlement. This is during the Ramatara government. But it was during that time that they started having explorations for oil with a plethora of companies. Let's bring it up to today, and the biggest company involved in this idea that there is a lot of oil there is, of course, Exxon Mobil.
Yes.
Now that, to me, is part of the problem. Because, you know, I like the Jamaican phrase, if you can't catch quacko, catch your shirt.
Yes.
And to a large extent, Venezuela's insistence on benefiting from its oil profits has created a holy potential with the Americans, while they've been very friendly to us as a hemisphere in general.
Yes.
And this hostility, as soon as David Granger won the election, I very much supported them winning the election, let me be perfectly clear on that. On the other hand, it was long after that they went off to the Ghana military went off to St. Kitts with part of a U.S. branch of their army. I don't know what they were preparing for in St. Kitts. And this thing has flared up again. I would argue that it came up shortly after the election. It's going on since then.
But this latest flare up now is considered a very serious one because, as you said, the exploration for oil and look like somehow oil has been found. Offshore in that zone, and and his long-time Venezuela has been claiming that Essequibo area, and now it looks as if it's taking a very dangerous turn.
Well, the Venezuelans are arguing that they're just having exercises on the border. But the point I'm trying to make is not one side, because Guyana went and had exercises, part of the Guyana Army went and had exercises in St. Kitts with the Americans. So the question is why? And this is a large American multinational corporation. I hope Guyana doesn't get itself involved in the U.S.-Venezuela problems by proxy. But it seems that's where it's heading. I imagine the UN is taking a very serious look at what is going on because they have been involved in terms of trying to sort it out for the longest while.
Yes.
Now, I am not aware that anyone, well, I can say more than that. They have not appointed anyone as mediator since Norman died. And I think that's part of the problem. So that I think I would really like to hear all of the persons who've been benefiting. You know, I'm Guyanese by birth, let's be clear on
Yes,
that. And
ma'am.
I love Guyana, and the idea of losing 2/3 of Guyana is not 40%,
Yeah.
it's 60%.
Yes.
It's heartbreaking
You
to
know-
me. On the other hand, I'm a political scientist, and I have to try and be objective.
Yes.
And it seems to me this is more about the American multinationals and the oil in Venezuela than it is about Guyana. And it really frightens me because I tell you what, Essequibo is beautiful, pristine land.
Yes.
And if what ends up happening in places like Ecuador, after the oil people come in and pollute the whole area, it will be no good for either side. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So what we are seeing now, Dr. Cummings, is that if you look at Guyana on the map, it's more what is happening now. What the Venezuelans are claiming is more than half
It's
of what they
2/3.
see.
2/3
So it's
is way more than-
just a little strip basically Guyana would have for themselves. That's what.
Yeah, that's the truth. We are Berbice and Demerara.
Yes. But what about the indigenous
But it's
people?
more important than that, because it's not simply just a little bit.
Yes.
It's all of the interior with the hilly side of Guyana. And that coastal side is already in jeopardy as a result of climate change. So it's serious business in terms of land.
Yes.
One of the things I haven't said is that if you look across the world, the amount of victims of British colonialism and thieving of land is mind-blowing, We have done many of the battles being fought in the world is about just that.
Conquest. Yes.
It's conquest, arbitrary conquest that
Yes.
has never been settled.
So what is happening now is that Venezuela is saying they are just conducting military operations along the river because there's a river actually.
There's a good river, beautiful river.
And there's nothing to be worried about.
I don't know if that's true because the reality is, as I said, you already have this tension between Venezuela and the Americans, and this is one of America's biggest oil companies,
Yes.
as in ExxonMobil. So I don't know.
But speaking about America, I mean, when I look at the history and when British Guyana and Venezuela at the time were having their dispute, Venezuela had asked America for assistance through the Monroe Doctrine.
Right.
So it's like a complete turnaround now.
Well, yes and no. The Monroe Doctrine is about their expansion and their replacement against Britain, in a sense.
Yeah.
That they began to dominate the hemisphere. And remember, this is an American multinational we're dealing with here.
Yes.
So it's very much in the Monroe Doctrine in the sense of American expansionism, whereas Britain is no longer the imperial power. So it's very complicated in that sense. The Venezuelans never accepted, never. They complained from day one that the 1899 ruling was unfair, and they maintain that the territory is still in dispute. Now, the fact that the United Nations has had mediators for so long suggests that there is some argument there.
Yes.
It's very difficult. I just think it's very unfortunate because, after the election, given the state of the Guyana economy and the seriousness with the serious situation with which the new government found itself, you would really have hoped they would have had the space to sort out a few things without having to worry about this. But, in a sense, they are very excited if there's oil because it would help the economy.
Yes.
On the other hand, there's this major dispute.
Yes, and Guyana would, as I said, they would very much welcome this whole new oil discovery.
Well, which of course is a yes and no, because when they finish polluting the area, you get some money in the short term, and then you deal with the consequences of all the river polluted. And remember that Guyana is one of the major exporters of seafood in Caracas.
Yes.
You go in a Jamaican supermarket, they have the fish came from Guyana.
Yes.
So when you finish polluting all the rivers, there's a lot of gold in the area.
Oh.
The diamonds in the area. Guyana is a major gold producer, There's a lot of diamonds in the area as well. It's lovely land. I mean, the parts I like in the interior of Guyana is You have all of the orange estates. It's really funny, because I found Jamaicans in the interior up there as well.
Yes? Jamaicans
Teaching.
away.
They're teaching up there in the interior.
Okay. And is it true, because we hear that Guyana have the largest jungle in the world? Is that a fact?
Well, let me put it to you this way. I'm not a geography expert, and I like to stay with what I know. It may be, I don't know.
Yes.
I'm not sure that could be true, given the size of some of the other places in South America. I don't know. I really would have to speak to the experts on that.
So worst case now is that what we see as Guyana could be no more.
Well, let's put it this way. If you think about 1811, where are we now? 2015?
Yes.
That's what, nearly 200 years?
Yes.
So I don't know. But, borders change across the world. I just don't know that Guyana could fight over the land. No, I just wouldn't like the idea of anybody else coming in there to fight by proxy.
In terms of agreement, I mean, is it a case where the two countries could have had a different interpretation of arbitrations over the years?
Well, I thought that Chavez certainly wanted to deal with it peacefully. He said it clearly. I think the presence of oil creates a problem.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, certainly the Guyanese want it in terms of the state of their own economy and what it could do for the country. They're not thinking environment or anything else, but they're also thinking that ultimately the capital city has to move, because Georgetown is going to sink with this climate change.
Oh?
If you think of the floods on the coast, and that's Berbice and Demerara,
yes.
Every year the floods get worse. Every year the seawall is breached.
Yes.
So you really have a problem of moving into the interior. You have the interior under threat and challenge.
What's the other threat and challenge here?
Well, the same one we're talking about. If Venezuela really wants it, you could have Venezuela versus the Americans fighting over Guyanese land.
Yes. So in terms of the capital, as you say, could be moved from border. Where are you looking at?
From Georgetown.
From Georgetown. Yeah, I said border.
Well, the logical place would be to move where you have the hills.
Oh.
Guyana, if you think about it, Guyana, Mount Roraima is a very tall mountain. Guyana has a lot of hills, It's just that most people in the Caribbean just see the coast. In terms of that's where you go. But ultimately, you're going to have to move to higher land.
Yes.
If with the sort of climate change we're thinking for places like New Orleans and New York, Guyana is very much part of that.
Yes.
In terms of how flat those two counties are.
Yes. Well, we're gonna watch this one and let's hope, because they had some agreement as well that they signed off on some agreement that whatever the outcome, it should be peaceful, and that was from 1966.
Absolutely, and that has been re-articulated over and over by the likes of Chavez. I think Maduro feels boxed in as a result of the hostilities from the big neighbor up north. And he already has threats on the Colombian side, so I think he's watching this much more seriously than most other people.
What about the indigenous peoples in that Essequibo area?
Well, that's exactly the point. I mean, that to me is when we're having all of these fights over oil or whether it's over religion or whatever, people never think about the people, They're just thinking about money, profits, and land, and power. And the indigenous people always suffer. So I really hope somebody, puts them in their thoughts, and there are a lot of them up there.
Yes.
Very productive people.
Well, watching this one, Dr. Cummins, and I thank you very much.
I think you should call me Christine still, but anyhow. All right, Roger.
Christine, all right.
Okay,
all right, thanks much here.
You're welcome.
And all the best. We'll talk much more. All right, so that was Christine Cummings. She said, I must call her Christine. So, yeah, it's Christine Cummings. What is Dr. Christine Cummings? And she's a lecturer in the Department of Government at the University of the West Indies. And we spoke a little about that Guyana-Venezuela border dispute. That has been happening from time immemorial. We're talking about more than 200 years now. And, of course, we got the historical context. And we look at what is happening now, which is oil. Them find oil in the area, And of course, Venezuela never, as I said, gave up that territory, but somehow. And if you look at, as you look at the map at Guyana, if what they are disputing about, more than half of Guyana would have gone. So we're looking at that one. Of course, you know, this whole oil exploration thing has taken a new twist over time and time immemorial and so on and so on. But let's see, let's watch it. Let's hope for the best for the people down there in Guyana and the indigenous people from that region. This is the Cutting Edge. Roger Hasfal from Mutabaruka.
Well, I want to name Street Juggle. Every day you see the youth, they in the street house and I look it, you know, it's rough. This is the one them for the youth, you know. Well, I man, in the street I juggle. Hustle man now, hustle. Stretch up me and nobody nah give me nothing. In the street house, juggle man a juggle. Stretch up me and nobody nah give me nothing. So me wipe car glass. I do more time people tell me about my parts. Sun never shine. It always overcast. One stampede for reach a car for.
Oh, so? Yeah, and some money can. What's if I beat them KFC? Alright, she said shh. But we're gonna take some calls now, you know. We're opening the lines now. And we'll take some calls for now. So you know the numbers already here at IRFM, you know. So call us because we have things to discuss. I think we have a call online already. Hello, good night.
Yes, Raj.
Yeah, man. Greetings.
One love, man.
Bless up, man.
An idea, just an idea. The great proposal to try Governor here in terms of quote-unquote try him for his role in the Paul Bogle massacre. In 1865. I'm thinking that when you and your team launch your project, I would suggest that my vision there is that here would be taken from his house, not to say we're trying him, blah, 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 but put it at a point in time, because when he was taken back to England, under guard, he was, I think, lodged in the Tower of London, one of those big prisons in London at the time. Then he was tried for what they said he did. It's excessive in dealing with the situation in Jamaica. And then he got away in court.
Yes.
So my suggestion would be, pick him up.
He got away 2 times.
Oh, eh?
2 times. Just 2 times I'm trying, you know.
All right. So pick him up. When he got away, take him from home then, arrest him from home kind of thing. So we have a continuum kind of thing, you know? Make it more, to me, more realistic. Just don't say you're going to try him. Make it historical. Take him from home, literally, in terms of the discussion.
Well, I know the whole enactment and reenactment thing. I mean, it's well in its planning now. I think they would welcome that suggestion.
All right, well, I'll leave it at that, you know.
Yeah.
That's how I'll take it to you.
Yeah, man.
I know, of course, you're normally part of these great works, historical work.
Yeah, man.
And the Black Card, so I thought I would just mention to you.
Yeah, man.
Otherwise, I'm listening.
Yes.
Before I go, what you have coming up? Quickly, you have any big project for us tonight?
For the night? We're just a move with the flow, you know, because we're taking some calls now.
I'm listening.
Yeah, we're rolling with the flow.
You get on with your thing, right?
Yeah, man.
Good. Take care.
Bless up. Give thanks.
Yeah, yes.
Then take off these chains.
All right, as I say, we're taking calls now. Hello, good night. Good night. 974-5051 618-0352 974-5043.
Commissioner inquiry still, you know?
The ongoing commissioner inquiry.
Well, the commissioner want to stop it still.
He want to stop it?
Yeah, he want to put that, man. Him tell it clearly today. Him say him know the report will come in on time. Him can assure you.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So him not delay upon it. Him tell them to the man. With a fool with them carry come for display. When name Major Henry Kevron,
the soldier,
whatever.
The senior soldier.
Jesus, man. And them things that them have to do for reach Major and Senior, make an answer for themselves.
Well, I don't know, watch every language still, but boy, may I tell you,
oh man, it needs to be said, man.
You notice the body language at the commissioner from the other day?
Boy, the man come like him peeing up with the lies them way my ear. Come like the man just peeing up.
But you notice him body language from the other day though. It's like say him really gets sympathetic towards the people you know.
Yes, man.
That's why it is so it's as clear as day now.
Why them really go down? They go do that, man.
Why?
Why black people? Why black people let them infiltrate their mind to kill them one another? So
you see the defense of the force. Them have to do still, you know. The defense of the force and the JCF because of them client and so on. And them have to do for make them client look in a good light. But my understanding of the situation is that yes, initially, man did a fire upon them, and there was a trading. They were exchanged for a good while, maybe for a good while. But there was a time when them get control of the situation. When they finally got control of the situation, is what them do after them can't got control of the situation of the problem, you know.
Terrible thing, man. Terrible thing.
And it's the same thing that happened in Morant Bay when them get control of the situation, them never business, them just go around and kill people. Them say same at people still, but you know it's more.
But listen, I hear Mr. Garden. I said to Mr. Gifford, say him a lower the intelligence or the training of the officer. What I mean by that? Him a lower when the man ask him questions about him say him have to object because Mr. Gifford a lower the training of the officer.
Which
I
officer?
don't understand what I mean by lower.
Which officer? The
Major Henry.
Oh.
You know, one at a time I don't exactly remember the question where Mr. Gifford asked, you know. But him come in and even one at a time Mr. Gifford have to say he never asked the opinion of Mr. Garden. You know, him asked the opinion from the witness. You get me?
Yes.
Like him want to talk for the witness when him say, boy, if you see them face, man, Peter Champagne, all the girls who are defending, boy, them look, boy, me I tell you, if they want some fresh air to the bridging.
Well, them have to do still, you know, because at the end of the day, for the end of the day, they could have been on the other side too. It's just, I just saw the lawyer thing go, but you know, you know what, you know.
In Jamaica, you have to look from both ways, you know,
For real.
From both ways. Alright, boss.
Alright, give thanks, man. Give thanks.
Where Ghana? Where chat to?
Ghana, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
You know me.
Africa.
Boy, I have to visit there, you know. I'm not really rich. I mean, I struggle on the poverty line, but I have to reach somewhere, you know.
Yes. Yeah, man.
Give
Africa.
thanks, yeah?
Alright, bless up, man. Bless up. Cutting Edge here on IRA FM. Remember, we're taking your calls, you know. 974-5051, 618-0352, 974-5043. Yeah, man. From the other day, I'm just taking in the body language of Mr. Simmons, man, and trust me, him really get sympathetic to her. I mean, we can go in our mind and we can go in our notes, as you heard today. It look like him now go on much longer with this thing, and him say him gonna have him report on time, you know. But this commission of inquiry has been revealing up a lot of things, you know. And trust me, people down the side go and hold the fort, you know, because we know it's never pretty, and we know it's still not pretty because there's still a lot of people who are of the view that, you know, a lies on top of lies, and sometimes we know better, you know. Hello, good night. Hello?
Yes, Hasfal, good night.
Good night.
Yeah, pertaining to the whole trial that them talk about with the slave master generation. My name is
Governor here?
governor here.
Oh, well, I never read slavery time still, but, you know, it was...
No, it still come on, it still come down.
Yeah,
to
well,
that
conditions
time,
were still slavery.
That continuation, yeah. Because I remember the police force was not formed to protect the people, you know.
Yeah, at that time, yeah. Out of the Morant Bay War was the formation of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, as we know it now.
Yeah, it was formed to protect the slave traders and the so-called elite.
Yeah, they were formed to protect.
Not for the local.
Yeah, not at all.
I must remember, you know, there was a war between the two stronger tribes who come out of Africa, which is the Caramantis and the Ashanti.
Yes.
The Ashantis on the white man's side, with them sign a treaty working with them, catching one of their slaves.
Yes.
I remember the Caramantis come from, with the Taki tribe, come out of St. Mary, Engliston, sometimes, somewhere in another year, they were fight together for a while.
Mm-hmm.
You remember?
Yeah, man.
It's the whole thing going on. Them call themselves Caramantis. So the slave traders farm, the police was farm, you know, them time to protect the slave traders and the elite. So more time when we discussing the history, we can make it go down to the nitty-gritty part, because sometimes the younger generation, them read to them eyes so they know that them things.
Yeah, man, it's true, man, because I mean, when we see some of the same traits of that time still exists.
Yeah.
Even up to this day.
So the people who signed the treaty, you know, them was the one that was trusted to become police, the police force at the time. Because my grandparents tell me, if you're really attached to that kind of level, you can go in the police force.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
there's a level of mentality that exists then, that come down from generation to generation in the JCF, and, you know. We see it. We see it down in the incursion, and you know, it's not pretty. It's never pretty. But in terms of, so what do you think about the reenactment of the trial? You know, for governor here in Morant Bay.
Well, it's a good thing for the younger generation. That they can
really understand and
understand what it takes place, and you know,
because the people must understand, you know, is that the conditions of Jamaicans, especially we, the common people, it was terrible, you know. Whenever we would have hospital, you know.
No.
We never have hospital. We never have enough of the social services. Then we never have
and the two prison wasn't made. It was not a prison. It's a place, the holding base.
It was a holding base. And
a traders when come, they would say, all right, I want that. Give me that one of this. It was like the trading post. They just come pick up slave and go back to your plantation with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know.
Yeah, so.
Them things, they, you know, the youth, them have to know them things they still. So it comes from a long way. I'm not a big up Taki, you know, because I don't think I get no respect much, you know. That will set up people who fight against slavery. While the Ashanti work with the slave traders, Taki always fight against slavery.
Yeah, man. All right, boss. We'll give thanks to you, here.
Yes,
yeah, man. Bless up.
Lions Art Center. We specialize in
it's hard or easy, you know. Hello, good night. Hello? Hello? I'm not here. Yeah, man, so this is the cutting edge, you know. Roger Hasfal here holding the fort, as we say. And we're taking your calls still, you know. 974-5051, 618-0352, 974-5043. The migrant crisis in Europe, it really attack a new twist, you know. And we see now we are hungry, detaining all of those people moving over from Syria and the Turkish border. And a lot of these people, they just want to move, you know. They want to move from where they are. They want to go. Most of them want to head to Germany, but apparently now the Turkish border and the hungry border, the hungry people, detaining the refugees, the people who is crossing over, and that is creating a whole new twist again, a whole, you know, because this whole migrant crisis, you know, is not a normal thing, and every day we see thousands and thousands on top of thousands of people moving over the borders, the respective borders. There's people also coming from Africa, from the African continent, coming over the Mediterranean Sea, on the Sicily Island off the Italian coast, in holding areas and so on. And Germany say them can accommodate 800,000 people this year, but some of the countries them that surround Germany don't want the people in pass through either. Hello, good night.
Greetings.
Yeah.
Greetings.
Good night, man.
One.
Good day, you know.
Yeah, man, Raja. Long time one talk to you. You're the sportsman, right?
Yeah, man. Sports and culture, I'm a thing.
Yeah, man. I love the culture too. I rate your vibes too. But may I say?
Yes.
As a sportsman, the match where Jamaica did play in a World Cup where we win Japan. Remember the match?
98 in France.
Yeah.
Yes.
Alright. Most of the players then they chop up in a red, gold and green. You remember that? You can't say that?
You mean what? Like
right, then they have on the Jamaican player, then they have on some unbanned some.
Yeah, I remember seeing some of the players in with that. Yes, I remember seeing some of the players with that.
Yeah, me just have said that, we say this Jamaica government, I want to have most worthless government to ever see.
Which one? Oh,
yeah,
successive government.
Look how long the X in the flag. What X are doing in a flag.
Well, that is what they come up with for the independence, you know. So
for the independence, I know people are mark X gets themselves in Jamaica.
Well,
and I worry about themselves and teachers them still not teaching at school say yo, X is wrong and we must not mark X until a certain time.
I don't know if that's going to change, you know.
We are marked X against the self-fragile in Jamaica.
I don't know if that's going to change because, I mean, from universal adult suffrage in 1944, that them been using. So, as I said,
then put some things forward we need to look into.
Yeah, so as I said, maybe we just are X for self, you know?
Yeah, we are X out for self, king. After going to Jamaica, until now we are looking down for ourselves. When you see a man with a locks on him head, we say, we are look down upon him like he's a dirty man.
Yeah, although we evolve past that now because we see Laxman on TV, you know.
Yeah, but we not fully evolved past it. Few people like me and you. Yeah, but how much people getting at themselves until now? Yeah. There's still a whole heap of ism, man, racism, classism.
Especially classism, because in Jamaica the classism rife, you know, man.
Yeah, man. Enough, man, you have uptown, downtown, downtown. And when I reach downtown, I still find downtown.
In Jamaica right now, as Jamaica move on, the problem we have in Jamaica now is classism. And not necessarily, we still have an issue in terms of skin color, and you know, because we see it, you know, when Miss Jamaica and the Miss World them go on. Mostly the
browner people them get the higher respect, and the browner people them expect the bigger respect. Until now, you know, you have some people just through them look on them skin brown. Yeah. Them still look on the African people them like, oh, me better than you.
Yeah.
It has become a challenge now, because what about when the African them start becoming to know themselves now and realize we are African.
Yeah, I tell you.
And we are African. When people stop to call themselves Jamaican and start say, we are Africans.
Yes.
What a challenge it is going to be.
You see,
but we have to be careful because the whole of we are African. We're going to choose someone with clear skin and someone with black.
Yeah, because the thing, you know, is that when people hear we say we are African, people just think about, you know, set of starving people from Africa.
Well, that's some my thing reach now, you know. Let's see what the man say, yo, me a Rasta man.
Yeah, African.
That. Me patriotic in myself, you know.
Yeah.
And me I come from down there, so, but me I used to say, yo, me a Jamaican.
Yeah.
Like how someone I say, oh, I'm American, I'm a Yankee, you know. I've been in New York. Me I say, yo, me a Jamaican, me there.
And some people say I'm African American.
Yeah, I took my patriotism. Yeah. But no one of that me I say again. Me I say, yo, me a African.
Yeah, because that is the scientific name of your race, you know.
Yeah.
African. African.
Yeah, man.
All of the science. That is the scientific name of your race.
Yeah, me African. That's my thing now. No man no come tell me nothing. Me say, yo, let me tell you this. Me, African. Yeah, for sure you how patriotic me be.
Yeah.
So big up yourself, Roger Hasfal. Nice program. Right there, you know, come here from come see there on the stage of the poem. Big up yourself, yeah.
Bless up yourself, man.
More life, brother.
Cutting edge.
Better must come, 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 better must come. Order.
Aye and aye?
Yes.
Before that, around a week before that.
All right. You know, looking at the signs in the atmosphere.
Yes.
I could call tonight the clash of the culture ones on radio because Bob Boniwela youth over journey.
Yeah.
And then Hasfal generations in Irie. I guess who's winning the sound clash? Are you juggle the music?
Yeah.
It'll go on, you know.
Okay.
I started knocking out, not over your boss. All right.
All right, sir. All right.
In this world of smoke screens and mirrors, cloaks and daggers, everything is not what it appears.
Yeah.
And what appears is not necessarily what it really is. First topic after that is the memorandum of understanding. Is about 4 of them I hear him sign? Peter, son of Phillips.
Yeah.
You know about that?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the finance minister.
Yeah, when he was head of security in the earlier
2000s.
PMP administration.
Yes.
Which would have given intrusive rights and privileges of the North American sovereign nation to put all a drone airplane over Tivoli, don't it?
Yes.
Because Dwight Nelson, who was then the Minister of Security in the JLP administration, said he never know nothing about it. And the response is coming out of the JDF is also shady. To the extent that they, at certain line of authority, were not aware of America's
But it's not only
involvement.
drone alone, you know. Also, it was not only drone alone, you know. Aeroplane.
Airplane and drone. There we go. Now, I am a little bit concerned, Roger, as to the history that is being revisited, being reviewed in this commission of inquiry, and as you said earlier on, some of the findings that are being presented to the public. The extent to which those who were defending the line of battle from on the inside, those that were wearing blue jeans and white t-shirt at Marina. And I got to understand that a lot of them were mercenaries for hire from all kind of gangs from all the 14 parishes. Have you heard that? I mean, I am not in a position.
That was the allegations that, you know, man from all board did come you know, come defend.
Yes.
The turf.
Yes. And then the reports that came out of the inquiries thus far is that they discovered a surveillance camera control room in a plaza that had a sliding door that led to different shops on the plaza.
Yes.
You heard that part as well?
Yes.
So, my question is, who is culpable? Is it just the excessive forces meted out to the citizens of that Tivoli community from the side of the JDF and the security officers? Or is it that there's culpability on both sides? Because the Commission of Inquiry seems to be giving a picture that the officers, the law the law officers were more culpable than those on the inside.
Well,
what's your position?
Well, I not beating around the bush, We know that there was resistance.
Yes.
And there was resistance for a good while, because the blockages and so on. But they got control of the situation. And when they got control of the situation, they were out of control.
Yes.
And we hear the testimonies coming through. And, it easy for the people among there tell lie, it's easy because we know a lot of people say, boy, you can't say a lie, the people them tell. Them never this and them never that and them never that. But based off the amount of people when them say the official death count is much more than that.
Yes.
It's much more than that. And then when you see some of the people right now, them all say a waste of time for come because them not get nowhere. But me personally, because the day after, I was in the area, well, not really down the side, but
you never have on blue jeans and white shirt?
No.
Okay, sir.
No, man. When everything died down and traffic can move up and and we go down there and people, a lot of invisible borders down them places, so people still escape and still move over places around those invisible borders around Tivoli and so on and them talk. Them did go on too excessive. Them did get extremely excessive. And me as I said earlier, me a man say, boy, why we are PNP, why, but me I tell you, why them treat the man them down a garden wicked, man. Them treat people them down there wicked, Yeah, man, and man a ball.
Yes.
So me not have no doubt said there was resistance initially.
But question, as a journalist, Roger, what's the end game? Let's say that the witnesses and various persons have been summoned to be a part of this inquiry. Are you able to put credible evidence on the table that points to excessive force on the one hand as far as the law officers are concerned, and vice versa? What is there a definitive line of action that can be taken by law now to assign judgment?
Well, I know what I know for sure is that the Judge Simmons is wrapping up now, and him say him not going to be late. So we respect that. Whatever he comes out of his judgment, that would be it.
No, I understand that he's on course to do what he's on course to do.
Yes,
but I'm trying to understand whether there is a legal framework that says if the outcome of this inquiry shows, culpability and sufficient evidence to support, can justice be exacted from this commission of inquiry, or this inquiry is just a fact-finding mission only?
Well, Jamaica going on, and we just honestly feel it's just gonna be a fact-finding mission.
Yeah. No, I know. We may kind of suss it out or sense it out. But what is the legal framework? Is this a situation where by law people can be found culpable and judgment be exacted, or this is just legally it ends at the point of just finding out information? All
right. My man say this way. You know the history of Commission of Inquiries in Jamaica? You ever hear anything come out of it?
You'd have to thought the Star QC council who get paid fat checks. That's all I know come out of it. Fat checks.
Yeah, so just the history alone answer your question.
Because I did a little. I would have want to say that there must be some premise within the structure of this legal framework that allows a commission of inquiry to be carried out. That one can say, if the thing exposes hard evidence that points to culpability on either side of the divide, then maybe it will be the stepping stone now to take the thing in a criminal court or a civil court.
Well,
and the necessary restitution be exacted, because I hear some millions of cents being given out to some of the people who now have nothing to do with gun and shooting and them house, mash up on them livelihood, mash up on everything gone. I hear them get some millions of cents.
Yeah.
Not dollars, cents. Couple $1,000. I said they were awarded that.
Oh, yeah, in terms of...
so I think maybe a review could be exacted to say, well, if this thing shows culpability, they probably need to raise the kind of money that they're talking to afford them as constitutional,
redress.
Yeah.
Well, all I can say is that don't hold your breath.
Yeah. Moving right along.
Yes.
My son, in doing his schoolwork at home, he has some school books that have been mandated by the school and the Ministry of Education to be used in his class. And I hear them going through the thing, Who first visited Jamaica?
You mean the discovery thing still there in the schools?
Yeah, the Spaniards and the answer was the Spaniards.
Yeah. Still,
what course of action you as an activist in terms of black consciousness could recommend that take? Because we have been hearing the advocacy for Marcus Garvey to be taught in schools.
Joke.
We have been hearing the advocacy for to change the lie and bring in the truth.
Them no love
discover Jamaica. Black people never there before, etc., etc., etc.
But just play the song, Them never love Marcus, and them still not love Marcus. So
there we go.
Yeah. So I stay there, I think about the same thing to and in the books, them still say Christopher Columbus discovered Jamaica. At that, the young kids them still grow up on.
Yeah, I hear my wife talking to my son and say, she read through the text, the answer is given, and she asks the question, who first visited Jamaica, the Spaniards or the Africans? And them say Spaniards, and she say, yeah, get it correct. I said, no, I lie, them a teach youth.
Yeah.
I say, youth, African they are from ever since till now.
Yeah.
But even though I may say this within my the privacy of my own home, he's going out to the schools, will pay a bag of money for.
Yeah.
And they are teaching this into the consciousness of the youths. So I'm saying, as your program director always say, we need to speak truth to power. The time has come, Roger, for us to up the ante a bit.
Yeah.
We have been given a microphone, an airwave, a radio frequency to speak stuff, not just in Irie, across the nation.
The landscape, yes.
Some choose to use it to talk about wind-up song and back it up and cock it up. But I think people need to become more and more conscious and aware that we have some serious issues that needs to be advocated on. Needs to be advocated, and we need to find a way. We need to constantly critically think and reflect on how we can now get this message across to those who have been given the privilege to make decisions in administration.
Well, we have the tools, and I know we have to run now, but we have the tools. It's just how you use the tools when you have it. And, sometimes we have the tools and we don't even know how to use it. And this is, you just said something a while ago, which is very important.
Yes.
You have the microphone, you have whatever, you have to use it for uplift, you have to use it for educate, you have to use it for getting out of conscience of the people, for know themselves.
Yes.
So...
in closing, Roger, I would encourage people like yourself who have been given a microphone to not get some Queen's Council, but get some King of Kings Council behind you.
Yeah.
So that when you speak the advocacy over the microphone, that the administration don't like to hear, because they must say Queen, and we are say, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. You have legal and other backative. But the time has come for those of us who have been given the privilege in media to understand that it's not a little show-off hype thing.
No.
We have serious work to do.
Have
a good night.
Yeah, man. Bless up yourself, man. Infinite blessings.
Hello?
Yeah, man, I'm here. You know, hear me?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, we're there.
Jack all out of Mount Zion,
Mount Zion? Which one is Mount Zion, them?
Up on Hans Mountain.
Where?
Irons Mountain. We know Irons Mountain.
We know a whole heap of Mount Zion in Jamaica, and we want to know which
We
one.
never Golden Grove and turn up in the hills, you know.
Another Mount Zion where Bob Marley come from.
Close to Bob Marley place, you know.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, but me I say, I big up my brother named Dede, you know.
Dede?
Yeah, he just buy a place at Wochi, you know.
Okay.
For real, man.
Mm.
So, he like we talk to you because I know a John, you know. All the way I call Muta and talk to Muta, but it's all about Muta tonight still, you know.
Yeah.
Because I'm not telling you, Muta is the only man where, because the earth is the Lord and the fullness, you know. And Muta is the man who chat on the earth. Barefoot, you see me I say?
Yeah, man.
So me I say, I love take Muta as my son. You understand? Because I tell you, say, I love take Muta as my son, and I tell you, say, because it's like, I'm like, because I tell you, say, I want Beanie Man and Spice.
Okay, imagine how Muta would have said no if I didn't even have to talk to.
I don't mean I say because it's like say some fall going on my life and my man take some fitness and it's like I don't want everything because jacket then give me so I want to refill them with like Beanie Man and Spice and Jody Mart and something there. Muta, you know? So me it's like I'm Freddie McGregor, you know, 5 youth more take out an artist because to me heart break, so me plan to take 5 artists in my life.
When you say a heartbreak?
Yeah, man.
What kind of heartbreak? What? Repeat.
Because it's like me take some so 2 girls give me jacket where I don't know for me fitting them and the boy I ugly foot me sit on the earth and boy then give me. And me say Muta on the calendar and me say Muta put them pretty 3 feet then give me, you understand?
So you want So
me I take Muta in space like the boy where they put on me because I don't want that the boy the Raja boy, you know? And it's like say Lisa Anna them it's like a Lisa and them mother, you know, cause me and Lisa Anna. Then say Lisa Anna come give me as me be a mother, you understand?
Okay.
But it's like you see 2 thieves where when turn up a crucify when they crucify Jesus. It's like them curse, them foot, the girl, them foot, them biggest man because them turn up and see them kill Jesus Christ. So me I say, that the girl that put the jacket on me, his white foot come so big, you know me I say? Okay. Because they shouldn't, 2 thieves come, 2 of them are twin, you know?
So you want to get people like Muta and Freddie McGregor and Beanie Man and them man as your son, that's what you say?
And Judy Mart and Spice, for me that 2 daughters, you know?
Alright, bless up yourself.
And Lisa and them mother, you know?
Yeah, bless up yourself, see it?
So it's like, say, so 2 them take set for me and 2 them take set for me hand. But me born 68 when me don't sit down already on the earth, so me no need no jacket to sit me down on the earth, you see what I say?
Alright,
so them a try to mix up Lisa Anna, and it's like, so them, if 4 counts do what they will call in and say, they don't want Lisa Anna. Because Lisa Anna friend come tell me say she a come in my village and me never come out. Because Lisa when come on my auntie when dead one day and me come at the 9 night and through the people, through she named Lisa and the boy them vision about me and but me I said me born 68. Me don't need nobody to sit me down because me don't know about me life already. You understand, Roger?
Alright, my boss. Alright.
So it's like Lisa now. Lisa is a girl where we supposed to be with and is why I want to know say Lisa alright because me don't want it comes like them know Lisa kind of feel away because me don't want to talk to her.
Alright, give thanks.
Let me hear Bumbaka. Send me Makata me yala. Yala me yala. Yala me bongo. Kokwela manuka boy. Yeah, bongo yala.
Good night.
Yes.
Yeah, brother Roger.
Yes, sir.
Boy, we just want to make a little point and just bring to light some little things where we've been analyzing and observing.
Yes.
No, we know say as a man I go good school. Remember when we were there at basic school, them teach you for write and known, which is your name. Yeah. And them tell you that you write a name is first capitalized followed by common, right?
Yes.
So why is it all your government documents are in full capital?
Why?
Yeah, because that's clearly not a noun. There's no provision in the English language for your name to be in full capital. There is, however, in the law dictionary, it states that full capital is a legally registered entity or a person, aka this is what they call a registered company, a person.
Yes.
So what happens is that we find out now that our families were duped, our mothers were duped into
signing us over into slavery with a document called the birth certificate. Because the word certificate in law means contract.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
So when your mother give them the name Raja Hasfal, the government of Jamaica now takes that document which is the birth record with a name in full capital followed by common as a noun, and they now incorporate a corporation in full capital. Right? And that is what is given to you now as a birth certificate, a contract. That is really what they do now, is that when if you born in 1970, right, when you are going to borrow money, when the government is going to borrow money, those people who were born in the 1970s, those birth certificates are corporations that are put up as collateral. So you know work and all monies associated with that name goes back to whoever hold on to your birth certificate. Look at your Jamaican birth certificate. There's a red number at the bottom, right? Your birth certificate are all bonded paper and bonded paper. The first stocks and bonds was black people and the blacks of slavery. Right. These are illegal. We are questioning, as we put out this now to the Jamaican people and the young youth in my school. We say go and research it and understand and ask any law student if it is or if it is not so. You understand? Because even though that is questionable, because the legal fraternity has, for example, not stood up for us and many times because they are representatives of the crown. For example, in the bad word law, Section 3, Chapter 13, Appendix D of the Constitution guarantee every Jamaican freedom of expression, which then makes the bad word law impossible and constitutionally wrong. But the lawyers never at any point stood up and said, look, you're infringing on the people's rights. They sat down and allowed the courts to make money off us wrongly and unconstitutionally.
Okay.
Back to the documentation. You understand? Now, all your driver's license and all these things are in full capital. They come with what you call adhesion contracts. That means say, so the application that you sign, there's a next 200-page contract along with the application that you don't know, so go with it, you know. You understand? So you have to can differentiate it between you, the living, breathing man, and the corporation that they have created, that they have forced.
You know, there's some high science here talk, though.
No, but this is what it is. This is the understanding that every man having him asked there's something wrong with the system and he can't figure out what. This is what they have used, and this is how they have trapped us back into slavery. Because all of these birth certificates are on bonded paper with a red number at the bottom left-hand corner. Call any international broker and he will tell you the value of that stock. Just call him and give him the stock number and he will tell you how much. Don't call the local.
So what would have been a counter to that?
What could have been a counter to that?
Yeah.
The counter to that is to make yourself what you call a freeman on the land. I'm on a compound maroon. My ancestors, my uncle, them understand that and go to law school as free black man. And acquire them understanding there.
Yeah.
You understand? And pass it down to us. Now we realize that the people at a point we have to reveal it because it cannot be kept anymore. And the young youth are edified enough right now to catch it on. The first thing there's lots of things they can do because you have to first state a claim of right because it's your mother and your father that inform them that you exist and sign those documents. And then by the time you grow up, you apply for driver's license and all these other documents in full capital that connect you further and further to that corporation and you stand its responsibility. That's why the country can't fix. Because when you think your tax is going towards the country, the tax is going back to repay and service the debt of the person.
So what kind of that then? That's what I said.
Simple. This is a clarity that people have to come to.
All right.
There's lots of people around the world that reach that clarity and live in that clarity. I have my brethren and my wife coming from America as free people without even a passport, fly out of America without a passport. Because these are all things in full capital that traffic to them corporation.
Yeah.
That makes you now liable for its debt.
All right. Give thanks for your contribution. We have to run here.
Respect, sir.
Bless up yourself.
Cheesy voice, lighting up the nation. Every country bite is a real cheese celebration.
Cheesy voice are the greatest. Let me tell you. Me I tell you, my friend. One face, none for replay.
You serious?
Yes, and I get cut off and on and off.
Miss sir.
Yeah,
you get through now still.
Yes. Indulge me in a civil conversation, see if we can reach a consensus here.
Yes.
If I have a man, right, and I'm sleeping with a man, and the man telling me that him love me, and him have a dagger to my heart, digging out my heart, and at the same time kissing me and telling me that him love me, and me dear, me feeling pain, and I'm gapping for breath, which means that I'm dying, and the man telling me I'm loving, I must be a very stupid person to be there laying with the man and believing that the man really love me when he's killed the man killing me. Am I right?
Yeah, the man I kill you. So yeah.
Well, this is Portia Simpson.
Oh, the honorable prime minister.
Right.
Okay.
She kissing the people and telling them she love them, and telling them everything is bright and everything is pretty, and the future will be brighter and brighter, as bright as it is. It's getting brighter and brighter. And it's killed the people. The people are hungry. The people are suffering. You understand what I'm saying? So anything can go on, so? It's either she live in denial. Two things. It's either she live in denial, or she's like those police who, you know, them go around, them catch one for this thing, and you see just find, say, tomorrow another one go on to the same thing that them catch one for, and they keep doing it. So it's either.
So what the latest issue you have with the Prime Minister now? Because...
No, but she go on the platform the other day and talking all these nonsense crap. As if this, you have black people there, and you're giving them $2,400 per 2 months or something for parts program. Them have to line up in the hot sun. Rain. It is rain outside of the parts office downtown to get to go in. These are black poor people, you know. And if anybody gets through, they have to stay at the post office to collect it. And then no, you are telling people that you are helping them. Oh, you're helping them. How can you help black people? How many people need assistance, can't afford it, and if you don't have like a pit toilet, or you have fridge in your house, you can't get onto the pass program? So that means you know me no better more than a pit toilet. I wonder if you understand the mentality I'm trying to relay here.
I hear you. I mean, you know, you have a serious issue. But there's something this way inherited anyway.
Yeah, but we have to get up and emancipate ourselves and change it, my brethren. We have to realize that these people are, none of them is not for us. The young black people, look here, you know, say my friend, the young black people, them are realize and say, if you go out there and talk, you know, you hear the people, them are saying, no. Them young, you know, 20 odd, 18, 19, and them say them not see. All them are try to push it over them can't see because them never live it, them never live no good life. Them never see nothing bright. Them just come up and see everything just one way, no shining off of them part. You understand me? So if you think you can fool them, no matter who you are or what party you belong to, these young youth, you can't fool them again because them don't feel the good feel. You understand me? Them go out there and them vote for you, get another house from the house where you have, you still want more. If you get a car from the car where you have, you still want more. And me not have no land, me not have no house, and my pitting them and me out a door.
You know what I noticed still?
Enough for share for everybody.
You know what I noticed still? All we talking about come election day, you know. All of them talk they gone through the window, we still gone vote, you know.
No, but no, look here, I'm 52, I have never voted in all my life. I've never ever voted. But I go on and I walk and I say, when you go for the Ministry of Social Security, the amount of people them are coming there disgruntled, them can't get them pension. So where the money gone? But when it coming up to the election, the money going to be there to buy the votes them.
I saw the things.
You understand what I'm saying? But the people them there suffering for the money where them earn now at sun, most of them labor toil. Right? And at the same thing with the farmers them and the PC bank and all these kind of things. You take the people them money, the NHT, you take the people them money where them save and expect to get something and then not get nothing and you keep telling them you love them. What kind of song you can sing for my friend?
I hear you.
Okay.
All right, give
thanks.
to the night. All right.
Let me hear what you say. Let me hear what you say. Me no hear.
King one again, you know. Call earlier. With the major anything there. I see something on the news since tonight. I say some IDB bank or something bringing a maths program where the education minister implement.
Yeah. I never see it, but tell me about it.
No, that's kind of suspicious.
Why is it so?
Why a banker implement a math program or help fund implement a math program?
No, maybe so that you can.
Math program we have.
So maybe you can check your account and fix up, and bank with them so that you know where to do. I don't know. Yeah.
Why? I hear a virgin earlier where him shook up my events hard about the birth Shepherd thing.
Yeah.
I mean, trust me, the man I put me on I have so many research to do, and the man take me off of everything else and make me a concentrate.
Man, change up your meds.
Why, Jaja? I mean, why the bandage are real? I can't, why? From the day I find out some things, I can't, why I feel like my mind out to explode.
No, well, I mean, just take it one day at a time, man.
Yeah, that me have to do, brethren, because more time I can't even get no sleep, because the information just so interesting and overwhelming, boy. I just need to go seek more and more and more.
Yeah, man, just take the information and continue to uplift, man. That's what we have to do with information, you know. We get the information and we have to play our part in uplifting and leading out, you know.
Yeah, man, we have to rise up, man.
You know, and emancipate ourselves and play our role in emancipating other people too, because if we don't do it, nobody now will do it for we.
Yeah, man, I lobby, I try to lobby, but boy, them head solid, you know. Them, when you boy, people, boy, I never really know, say, some educated people have degree. When I say all them things to them it's like, them say I get crazy.
No, because them educated in a way where uplift the system, but keep them down, you know. So, as you have a name for them where you have a name for some of them where you call bossy slaves, you know. Them jacket and them tie and them. And them, you know, shave up and really, they are just slaves, you know. Harriet Tubman said she's free 1,000 people, you know, but she could have free 1,000 more if them didn't know that they were slaves. You know, so, is that thing? Well, give thanks.
All right, bless it.
Yeah.
When I hang out with the girls, there are things that make our night perfect. The girls, check. The bar and music, double check. And Stone's ginger wine, triple check. Get yourself the perfect drink and everything will fall into place. Stone's ginger wine being sold in a...
We're making it, man. We have got you. I said 2 o'clock. Hurry up and come now, man. It'll come. We have 26 more minutes. So we're in the home stretch of the cutting edge tonight. Roger Hasfal here holding the fort for Muta. We're still taking some calls and we'll listen to some groundation music. So hello, good night. Hello?
Yeah, you hearing me?
Hello? Yeah.
Yeah, Roger.
Yeah, man, go ahead.
Hold on. Like the program. Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, man. If you never like the program last time, I just hang up the phone, you know, and just no bother with it because I'm more than an hour, you know, and they don't think it makes sense.
Yeah, you want them to hold so long too?
Well, I'm tell you, it's something wrong, man. We do have go and run about with the phone call and when come in. And the next thing too, on the website itself, you know, rfn.net, when you go on the site, it's like you have a team in there, watch the scoop, just start right away, you know, without even asking anything to start click anything, you know.
Yeah, so and you want to address that?
Way, yeah, somebody around there should look on that because it's not just supposed to start like that because enough people just log in on it. Some people are drive and the app works perfect because it's the truth. The app on the phone them work alright. But on the browser thing there, it's like when you're going for it, watch the scoop, just start right away. And
I think they're gonna address that, you know, soon. So, you know, sorry for any inconvenience.
But the phone call thing is a big old problem.
Well, I don't think it's anybody's fault, you know. I don't know. Maybe I just aligns them, you know, something maybe, you know, not from our angle.
Are you gonna run the stepping with that tomorrow?
No.
Muta go down there.
No, Muta not come back I think until next week.
Well, no wrong. Say we like how you try. You see what I say? I know how we want it. We like Roger Hasfal, but I know how we want it because I think we need to develop it and that, you know. But nothing wrong with it. We respect the energy and we respect the time. But if we never love it, we just wouldn't do it, you know. And Muta, what me feel like, you know, Muta really needs to work on, you know, other people outside of him, because sometimes when you know they hand on the stage, you know, it's like it's a problem. And if you look on history in a yard, you know, we don't replace Dennis or now. And everybody remember school challenge quiz, and that was a personality where I know we still can't find a replacement. We don't replace Bobby Free, we don't replace Ed Barnes.
Bobby Free is still the boat, you know. Bobby Free and Ed Barnes still the boat.
Them still the boat, but the image of them having in the media, it just gone. You know, and that's something that when I say, if we want to really build a history and really recreate things that way, I gonna make that simple means that when Dean one and Bounty Killer can't do it again, we still can't replace them. You know, and them things we need to expect.
Some people say Vibes Cartel now and them on there, so.
Yeah, but you know, you even say Vibes Cartel. Everybody loves Vibes Cartel, but we see situations with Vibes Cartel where we don't have nothing to do. We can't help, you know, and it's like we just lose him. You know, for years, we don't know how long, but you know, we just lose people like that where we should put some more effort in what we can do and just try to deal with it better. Like, if you want a larger time to deal with the stepping, the cutting edge, the people who want to answer the phone, the mafia can't even send through the conversation, because the program itself, if you know it, you know, it's a thing we just open up to people in the yard who want to say something. You know, even when I'm on a call and you know really so versed with the call, you know so versed with him in grammar, but you want to say something, you know, it's a feeling space that the program created the way.
Yeah, man, everybody has something to say, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I will respect everything that everybody say. You know, we just want to be more free and, you know, help more youth and make people more see the way, you know. We have a couple more things we want to
well, you have to run it short because we have some other calls lined up and time short. So go ahead, run it quick.
Yeah, you know. So one thing we may look for, you know, and Mutabaruka even spread it to himself, you know. You see food in Jamaica, people need to start really take it serious. When we say serious.
You mean planting or eat where you grow, or what you mean?
Eating, where you eat.
Eat where you grow? That you want, sir?
Not eat where you grow, because everybody can grow things, but eat where you eat, and you really need to look for it. Because when me going to the high school in the 90s, early 90s, you know, and when we left high school, I still in the mid-90s, and me I tell you, say, if you them go ahead of me, them look like my daddy. The girl them look like my mother. Them adult people in high school. And right now, if you have seniors in high school right now, will look like them are 10 or 15.
Because of what they eat?
Obviously.
Okay.
You know, and the food. There's no other fixing to it. You know, the food is a crisis to Jamaica and everybody. You know, consciousness a thing where people really need to bring in them family. You know, just go on when you go to the road and you buy some food. It starts from the yard.
Yeah.
You know, so we really need to just push some effort now what we are doing. If we really do it. You know, because Roger Hasfal host the cutting edge, you know, probably next year or two, you know, they're on it again. But if we are really look forward to, you know, certain things we really want to make sense, we have to put some effort in it, you know, and make it work for everybody.
All right.
That, you know, yeah, man, I feel like, say, it works better really, and everybody enjoy it, because we love it. You know, the program will not stop calling. If you have to wait 5 hours, we have to wait. But, you know the program, you know the thing when so.
All right.
You know, just put some effort in it, and just me and all of you, they want to call it, and just respond to it, you know?
Yeah, man. All right, respect.
Yeah, man.
Good night. Hello? Good morning, no, yeah.
One man, Roger.
Tell me no.
Hello?
Yeah, man, you not hear me?
Yeah, man, I just still call it back out to Iron Mountain, you know?
No, man, but
we cut off a while ago.
Yeah, man, we cut off and we still cut off, you know?
No, mommy, I say, me, let's Lisa and them mother, you know?
Yeah, man, cool. Cool. Listen for years. I mean, I think from cutting edge start from the early 90s, we listen Motor and, you know, really informative program. Well, cousin, you laugh. You hear some old. And I tell you, say I'm old, but old. Yeah, man, but that, you know,